Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show with your host, Bill Shelton. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Welcome to the Michigan Golfer. For the last several editions of the Michigan Golfer, we've been talking about the history of the Ryder Cup, and today we focus on the decade of the 90s and indeed see the competition become stronger and stronger, and perhaps by the 99 Ryder Cup reach a point that was really further than expected. Our co-host and guest today, the great Haig, Walter Haig. We went through a period where competition had now reached a major point as the European team was not only matching up but beating the United States team.
It really reached a fevered pitch. All of a sudden, national pride had become at stake. Whereas before we won year after year, decade after decade, it just seemed like a nice cordial match. Suddenly, this was war.
The United States had not had the Ryder Cup since 1985. The matches were going to be held in South Carolina. Pete Dye, the noted architect of golf courses, was selected to build a course specifically for the Ryder Cup. It's called the Ocean Course at Kiawah Island. We go on and we actually end up barely winning on a U.S. course that really probably favored the European team because of the element of the wind and the weather. But when you come right down to it, there was an unfortunate, really, putt by one of the European players that decided the match.
Yes, Bernard Langer. He had a putt. If he would have made it, he had about 45 feet to go for birdie. Putted, got to within 6 feet. Now, if he could have won the match, it would have been a 14-14 tie. Europe would have kept the cup. So all he had was a 6-foot putt. Very makeable. But all of a sudden, the game had changed. All of a sudden, you have millions of people watching on television. Thousands of Americans all around you. Media everywhere. Seve Ballesteros said that he would never wish that upon anyone. And unfortunately, his putt just rolled past the cup.
So the cup comes back to the United States for the first time since 1985. Actually, in 1993, we go across to the Belfry Golf and Country Club, and there we eke out another win, 15-13 over the Europeans. And probably when you really think about that, it was the amazing comeback of the American team. There was now a pride, an excitement, a competitive spirit, and the American team had to come back with a lot of wins in single matches.
It really showed the seesaw battling that was going on. They'd win on our side, we'd win on their side. It was anyone's game at that point in time.
You know, the Ryder Cup sometimes it's about equipment controversy, sometimes it's about the weather, sometimes it's about the events outside or off the golf course, sometimes it's about personalities. In 1995, two names very familiar to people who play golf around the world and are interested in the game. Two Americans that were involved in the 1995 Ryder Cup, a young guy named Mickelson, a veteran and certainly at one time dominant player, Curtis Strange. Both of those players figured in the 95 Ryder Cup.
Right. Mickelson was the only person to really avail himself during that Ryder Cup, which was not America's best, but he was the only person to go undefeated during the entire tournament. And Curtis Strange went defeated the entire tournament, and he was one of the captain's picks and hadn't won since 1989, a very controversial pick. And he did not come through. And towards the very end, as it got close, he fell apart against Nick Faldo in one of the matches that was pivotal. And clearly, it had become far more of a game into a battle where so much was at stake, and accountability was becoming more and more of an issue.
Following that in 97, as the fierce competitiveness continues, and as you say, it's kind of seemed to be building to a momentum. 97, for the first time, we play in continental Europe at Valderrama. Obviously, two individuals, Seve Ballesteros being most known. Here was his home country, and here was his opportunity as a captain, along with Tom Kite, the captain from the United States, to lead their teams. And in that one, Europe came out in a tough fought contest by 1 point. And Seve, probably in his always enthusiastic way, he did everything, perhaps displayed a little extra emotion as he pumped his fist in the air during those matches.
Ever since European play opened up, it's been brooding and brooding and brooding, and And a lot of animosity starting to go on. All of a sudden, these are becoming grudge matches. And a simple thing like pumping your fist in excitement, played over and over and over again, over 2 years, can have an effect.
By 99, the level of competitiveness perhaps was reaching the point that was almost too strong. Coming out of Valderrama and the excitement of the European victory there in Spain, we come back, we play at the country club at Brookline. The United States is captained by Ben Crenshaw, Mark James out of Europe, and in that particular match, the Ryder Cup team for the U.S. is down significantly, and they make this charge to win the last 8.5 out of 12 points. But in that match, as Justin Leonard playing against Jose Maria Olazabal, with 7 holes to play, was down 4 holes. What a comeback. And then on that last hole, he made the putt to square the match and to ensure that the United States was going to win. The press, both in the United States and Europe, wrote about where the matches had gotten to.
It had gone too far. The exuberance showed by the American team, it was essentially rubbing the Europeans' nose in it. It was far too much national pride at stake, and it had gone too far. It had taken it away from being a match played between professionals to being a schoolyard brawl. We won that time, but at what cost? It was really very devastating to see those images of Americans being bad sports.
Well, you know, Walter, I think the great thing about golf, as certainly you have been a part of it for a very, very long time, is that it is a great game and great people play it. And while 99 was not a time that people really felt as good about the Ryder Cup, as we came back in 2002 and the matches there, Sam Torrance leading his, Curtis Strange leading the U.S. team, even though the European team won, there was a great attitude by both groups. Now, in fairness, Sam Torrance, as captain of the European team, was credited basically for how he put the matches together from his side that brought about the victory.
Absolutely. He put in his best players in the last day in front. So by the time our best players of Mickelson and Woods came up to bat, the game had already been decided. When we created this in 1927, Sam Ryder and I helped him with it, it was about people from across the pond getting together and having a good game of golf. In 2002, this match got it back to what it was. It really brought it full circle.
Walter, we've enjoyed you being here and covering the history of the Ryder Cup in the series here on the Michigan Golfer. 2004, the Ryder Cup in the Detroit, Michigan area at the Oakland Hills Country Club, a club that you certainly have been connected to in the past, but the excitement as America hosts the Ryder Cup this year. And let's just hope that 100 years from now that there will be some other people that are sitting and talking about the excitement and the competition of the Ryder Cup.
You never know, I might be here.
All right, thank you. And thank you for watching the Michigan Golfer.